This was too good not to share. Insight into a conversation that I just had with my partner. We were talking about love and the power of love and the concept of love and ways to love another. What happens when love falls out when you go through divorce? He had had a conversation with a friend and just shared his story of the relationship ending. And where one relationship ends, a new one begins. And in this relationship, it was talking about love and what that really means and how to understand love from another person and what the person's family dynamic is like. When you're really falling in love with a person, you've got to know not just about them, but about what makes them them. And what makes us us is what brings us up to be us, right? Our experience, our relationship with our parents, with our partners. We're not with our initial caregivers. Our initial caregivers are our initial experience with love. And what is that like? What shaped it? What transformed it? What is the context of it? All of it, because we're humans, was based on conditions. So what conditions was it based on? And this conversation was, hey, FYI, it didn't work out with this partner in the past because of her relationship with her dad. She would always run to daddy, and there were money issues with daddy, and daddy always bought her love whenever she wanted, whenever she was upset about something, she could whine about something and she could just say, I want this new purse, I want this new thing. And that was the key. That was the glue. So daddy would run out and buy her purse. Daddy would run out and buy her this. He bought her love. And I was actually watching a movie with my daughter yesterday that the girl came to know Jesus, and then she came to her dad and said, oh yeah, we don't talk about that, because he got all mad and he's like, oh, you're a crazy hypocritical Christian now. You're brainwashed. And she was like, no, dad, I actually know real love. I actually know what real love feels like now. And it's not what you tried to do or tried to get me to believe it was. That anytime I wanted something or I was upset by something, you would buy me something. Like, that's not actual love. That's just brush it under the rug. And how this impacts and influences and affects intimate relationships and family dynamics. And so we were talking about the importance of understanding your partner's relationship with their parents, and the value that that brings when you understand that about your partner and this context and conversation of love. And was I need to know more about that with you and for you. And obviously the journey that I've been on, I've taken, not obviously, depending on when you're finding this video, but the journey that I take my clients on is that deep internal work and unconscious connection to their beliefs, their emotions, their feelings, and how they see their value, what they claim as their worth in another person's eyes, in the eyes of the original lover, right? Children love their parents, whether they know them or not, whether they're adopted or not. I mean, you talk about early abandonment issues, early rejection issues. I mean, look at children who don't even know their parents or don't believe or feel that they were loved or wanted or desired. And even when you come from a really, really good family, there are going to be energies and essences of this kind of presence of love that are going to impact and influence all of your relationships with everyone else, not just with your spouse, but with your children, with your friends, with your boss, with your colleagues, with your mentors, with everyone. And it was the way that we give and receive love. And I found out through another program that I did early on in my RTT training, my therapist training, what my dad's love language was. And it's acts of service. Mine is different. My top are quality of time and physical touch. Well, my dad's is acts of service. Those are very different. But through the understanding of this, was able to see all the ways that he loves me, was able to see the way that he shows up, and was able to understand that my dad, like all humans, have things that they're processing through, and understanding that we can only ever love another to the degree that we love ourselves. And so my partner had someone ask him when he was wondering, hey, I don't know if I'm in love with this person, or what is it that you love about that person? And the turnaround question, which I love because it's always a reflection, was, do you love you? What do you love about you? And it was like, oh, I don't, yeah, wow, that's a really good question. As I think a lot of times our attention, our focus is on another, is on they do this, I like that they do this, they don't do this, I don't like that they don't do that. And then we call it love. And those are doing things are always based on conditions. And where there's conditional love, you're gonna experience some stickiness, but we're humans. So understanding, obviously accepting the unconditional love of our creator into our heart and our life, it changes everything, and it allows ease and softness around many other things. Not things to be perfectly, but things to go a lot more smoothly. But with or without that, this video isn't about that. It was about the understanding that you can only ever love another person to the degree that you love yourself. And going through this journey and this internal transformational work and understanding my subconscious beliefs that led me to the actions that I took and ways that I tried to experience connection with love with others, that it was a physical exchange that I was calling intimacy, or I was hoping would give me that internal feeling that you love me. And if you love me, then I feel connected, I feel accepted. But it always left me feeling empty and feeling used and worthless. But we look for love in all the wrong places, especially in those spaces that we don't believe that about ourselves, or we're not allowing ourselves to receive that gift of love. So if you're not at that place, that understanding the capacity of acceptance, awareness, acknowledgement that you, and you being you yourself and everyone else, can only ever love another person to the degree that you love yourself. Where's your self-love at? If you check in and it's a meter, what number is it at? What's it displaying? What is it saying? What is it saying that you need more of? What is it saying that you need less of? You need to remove some bitterness and allow some compliments. You know what I mean? To accept yourself and see, to really set yourself free to love, and free to let go of bitterness and anger and resentments and judgments that you might have that keep you from the kind of love that you deserve and desire. And that's the kind of stuff that gets caught up in relationships. So that's the first important thing, is where's your self-love at? Where's your self-acceptance at? Where's your self-awareness at? How aware are you of the way that you love you? How aware are you of the way that you love you? What are the conditions you're placing upon yourself? Where did those conditions come from? Who did those conditions come from? What happened if those weren't met? What did it result in? Did it result in silent treatment? Did it result in punishment? Did it result in a feeling of needing to prove your worth, your value, so that you could be loved? Was there something, a certain phrase that if your parent said to you, you would have felt, oh, they do love me? Like if they just stopped what they were doing for a second, if they got off their phone and they looked at you and said, I am so proud of you. I love you so much. And they actually said it when they were looking into your eyes, instead of just like passing by. Oh yeah, I love you. I'm proud of you. Good job. Uh-huh. Yeah, elbow. And you're like, you weren't even paying attention. So where did that come from? And what are you holding against that original person that you loved, your parent? Are you understanding that they're in their own process and journey as well? That they didn't feel that kind of love from their parent, that they didn't get that. And so if they never got it, they never had it to give. And are you in a place of full acceptance of that, full awareness of that, and not using that against them? And you're the one left holding the bitterness, right? It's like poison. You're drinking it, but expecting the other person to die. They have moved on with their life, and you're the one saying, you don't love me the right way. And therefore, I'm still hoping for that love for you. I can't go on without that love for you. Or have you fully, completely accepted the love that they do give and the way that they do show and share it, and not making them wrong for the way that they show it and share it, and saying, I accept what I get. And if there is a scale and a meter of love from 0 to 100, and you get a 2, accepting and celebrating, you get a 2, and making that okay and making that right and not making that wrong, and saying, well, it's actually not love until you show me at least a 50. Or, you know what, my expectation is that you're perfect and you're always there for me, and I always feel love coming from you no matter what I do. And so I can't feel this or really accept this or believe that I'm worthy enough to receive love unless the love I get from you is at 100. And realizing that it's you setting you up for you. So where is this experience and relationship with yourself? Because that is going to be your relationship with everyone else. So full acceptance, full awareness. He was asking me, what's the relationship with my dad? And I said, the relationship with my dad is full acceptance, that we have a good relationship and I don't expect it to change. Would it be a benefit if things, if we connected more, if we spoke more? Absolutely. But is it still incredible the way it is? Absolutely. Because there's full acceptance, full awareness, and understanding that we can only ever love another to the degree that we love ourselves. So instead of making someone else wrong and saying you don't love me enough, or you don't show it in the right way, accepting the way they do show it and saying I love the way you show it. And when it's shown and displayed in that way, you say yes. And not making that mean anything at all about your value as a person and as a human. Understanding that that kind of love that I need from my father comes from my heavenly father, not my earthly father, and differentiating those two and allowing the love that I need and deserve to come from above instead of from this horizontal relationship like, oh, hey, dad, you don't love me enough. You don't tell me enough. You don't show me enough. All of that is in lack energy and lack frequency that is not enough. And so if I expect any of that to change instead of fully accepting it and saying it's perfect the way it is, there's going to be a very different experience with love. So that is this understanding that I have and hold for myself. And that is this understanding. He asked me a beautiful question. He's like, do I love you in the way that you need to be loved? And I said, that's really not up to you to process. I don't, there doesn't need to be me changing you or telling you you should be better or different or worse or whatever. There's just acceptance. And that acceptance of you is a representation of the acceptance of myself. And that's where I'm at, because my acceptance comes from above. It's funny because we have these horizontal relationships and then we have this vertical relationship. And the vertical relationship is way more important than any horizontal relationship. So when you get into alignment with this vertical relationship, all of the horizontal relationships, whether they're good or bad or right or wrong or enough or lacking or not enough, get to be full acceptance. And then the focus gets to be on this relationship. That's where love comes from. So we had this conversation and it was incredibly insightful and valuable. And so I wanted to share it with you. A lot of people are here. They're in this place of like questioning and wondering what's going on? How can I make changes? How can I make improvements? What do we need to do differently? Well, it begins with acceptance. I've always said that, and I always will say that begins with awareness and acceptance. And understanding, accepting that you can only ever love another to the degree that you love yourself. Are you letting yourself be loved? Are you letting yourself be seen? Are you opening yourself up to letting all the shameful things, all the blameful things, all the things that you're continuing to hold against yourself and resent for yourself and making yourself wrong for? Are you letting those be seen, be shown, be exposed and transformed? Because all of those impact your internal unconscious beliefs. And when those transform, everything transforms because you let true, pure love in, the kind of love in that heals and redeems and restores your soul. That is the kind of love that when you have for yourself, you get to extend to everyone else. So it's a beautiful impact, a beautiful insight, a beautiful awareness, a beautiful journey to allow yourself to go on, to go through and to experience. And that's a kind of love that makes every relationship good, because that's a kind of love that fully accepts instead of rejects. Oh, you didn't love me enough. You didn't say this enough. You didn't do this for me enough. Me, 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 me. No, that's got to be set free. So when you're ready to go on that journey, I'd love to connect with you. You can find out more at sarahpacaro.com. Until then, sending you all the love.